Hey guys, what's going on? White Fox 1225 here, and welcome to the second episode of MMO Chat. So this is going to be a bi-weekly series. We already had one episode, but I'm just going to talk about, a bunch of different MMOs. So last week we did The Division, and this week we're going to be focusing on Wildstar, and we're also going to be talking about some other stuff. But mostly we're going to be talking about the news that has come out about Wildstar in the last couple of days. So with that being said, let's just get into the agenda. So first, we're going to be talking about, like I said, the news about Wildstar that's been coming out in the last week or two. So first, we're going to be talking about customization, mostly character customization, and then we're going to be talking about guilds and the guild influence system they have, and then we're going to be moving on to whether or not the subscription payment model can still work in MMOs, and that's something that people have been talking about a lot, especially with Elder Scrolls Online coming up. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of my perspective on that. And then we're going to be talking about Trove, an MMO that's going to be coming out later this year. So it's a pretty big episode. These are going to be bigger episodes, but like I said, they're only going to be happening once every other week. So, let's just get started talking about Wildstar. So, first we're going to be talking about the customization in Wildstar, mostly the character customization. That's also going to be player housing, and you can design your own house, which is awesome. But I already talked about that in one of my other videos, so I'm going to be just focusing on character customization. So this just number one. Let me just say that the game really not really focuses on customization, but customization is definitely a huge part of it. Like I said, there's a huge player housing system, and also just the amount of customization that you can do to your character is just amazing, and I think that's just great because I think everyone loves making a creative, unique character, and I mean, it's definitely a big part of MMOs. But yeah, I'm really excited about the customization of Wildstar. So first, let's just talk about actually designing how your character looks. So in the trailer not really the trailer, in the video they released, the dev speak, we got a 20-second view of the character customization. It looks like there's a lot of options. It looks pretty robust. Even in the same race, there looks like a wide variety of what characters can look like. And that's really cool, and but that isn't the huge part of their character customization. So, I mean, in every MMO, you can pretty much design a pretty unique character. But really, what sets Wildstar apart is what you can do after you create your character. So first, let's talk about customizing your weapons. You can customize any weapon over level 15. Now, they just kind of mentioned that. They didn't really go into what you could do, but it looks like you can change the stats kind of and change what the weapon is really used for, and what it really excels at, which is really cool. They also mentioned a crafting system, but again, they only mentioned this. They didn't talk about it too much, and I'm sure maybe we'll get another dev speak about it. But they said they have a really robust crafting system, and it did look really complicated. But complicated doesn't always mean really a huge variety of crafting. Sometimes it just means complicated. So hopefully it is a pretty robust system, because I know lots of people love crafting in MMOs. It's a huge part of a lot of games. So let's talk about the armors. So they showed off some of the armors, and let me just say that there's a huge variety, and they're also really cool. I mean, one thing about Wildstar, they're really not held back by anything. Not saying that fantasy MMOs are bad, but in fantasy MMOs you gotta have armor that that kind of looks fantasy-ish, and in Wildstar they really can do anything. We saw some guy in a tiki outfit. We saw a guy in a suit. Really, the armor can just look like anything. It's gonna make looking for loot just that much more exciting. So yeah, a huge variety of armor, and also we have dyes to change the color of armor, just like we had in Guild Wars 2. And that's a really nice system that lets you customize your armor even more, and customization is always a good thing. Let's talk about mounts. So mounts was a good part of the video, I'd say almost half, and let me just say that the mounts look really awesome. So if you're thinking about mounts, you guys are probably thinking about horses, but really just don't think about that. Mounts are really just a way of getting around in Wildstar. So they have animals that you can ride. We saw giant lizards and things like that, but we also saw some really awesome things like a hoverboard. We saw a jet powered car. We saw a hamster ball for the thing that Chua, the hamster race. Really just some awesome mounts. And you don't just get to pick a unique mount, you get to customize it. There are so many ways to customize different mounts. We saw just the hoverboard, there were so many different combinations. So really just so many ways to customize your character, and customizing a mount is awesome, because I mean, who doesn't like riding around in like a hoverboard that they got to create. I mean, that's awesome. I don't think there's anyone who doesn't like that. Yeah, so let's go into the customization of like your skills and stuff. So there's a big variety of class stats that you can, decide what your character is really good at. You can add like strength, you can add like speed, things like that, and you get to spend points on that. Another thing they showed off in the video was the combat, like choosing different skills to use in combat. So you can have a preset group of skills. So like say you can have like a range of skills on your hotbar for I don't know, a boss fight, and then another preset for range combat. So you really can just swap in and out of different roles pretty quickly. At least that's what I think. They didn't talk about that, but they did show like a gameplay clip of it. But that definitely looks like what it's gonna be, so that's cool. So that pretty much does it for the customization video, and let's move on and talk about some of the guild stuff that they talked about. So first they wanted to mention some of the basic features, and then they went into some of what made their guild system special. So obviously you can create a guild. They have like a guild vault, just like a lot of other MMOs. But there were some things that really set their guild system apart. So first let's talk about the hollow mark. So basically a hollow mark is sort of like a patch that you design. You can put it on and off, and it hovers above your character's head. So if you're invading like, I don't know, a war plot, and you want everyone to know that this is your guild invading their war plot, you can have that symbol hovering over your head, and then they'll know that. And it's a pretty cool idea. It's a cool idea of letting yourself represent your guild. There are 4,225 combinations of different patches you can make, or different hollow marks you can make. But I really don't think that's enough, because if you think about how many guilds are going to be in the game, there's going to be a lot, way more than 4,225. I mean, at least I hope so, or else it won't be a very popular game. So I think they definitely need more, because otherwise they'll have, like 300 guilds with the same, hollow mark, and then you can't really represent your guild. You're just representing people that have the same hollow mark as you. So I definitely think they need to make that just more options. Otherwise, I don't think it'll be a very good system at all. Another thing they talked about is an optional guild tax. So guild masters can put this on and off, and if it's on, it takes 5% of the loot, and that'll be transferred into the guild vault. So that's a pretty cool system, and it really, I mean, I could see people getting mad about it, but it would be nice to help your guild vault grow in value. So now let's talk about guild influence, and they talked about this a lot. So guild influence is a system that they have that really encourages people to play in guilds. And basically what it does is you earn guild influence by, playing with, other guild mates. The more guild mates you have, the more guild mates you have, the more guild influence you'll get, and the more you're playing with it at a given time, the more you'll get. And you can spend guild influence on 3 things. One thing is guild unlocks, and you can get things like additional bank vault places, or like ways to summon players to you. You can get it for guild-wide buffs. Now, guild-wide buffs, you can have 6 active at a time, and they're going to affect everyone in your guild, and they'll do things like, I don't know, they'll increase the amount of experience you'll get, increase the amount of influence you'll get, things like that. So not things that will really help you in a gameplay stance, but things that will help your guild grow even more. Now you can also buy consumable items with your guild influence, and those will get your players flasks, and those will just give them individual buffs on top of the guild-wide buffs that you already have active. So that's pretty cool, and it's cool how they're, encouraging, team play. My only fear is that, solo players will be at some sort of disadvantage, because, a lot of people do like to play MMOs solo. It might be weird considering, MMOs are massive multiplayer games, so you're meant to play with other people, but, some people do. I know in Guild Wars I like to go solo a lot of the time, so that's just a concern I have. It sounds like it'll just help the guild. It won't really give them like a gameplay advantage, so that's pretty good. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Wildstar. Other than that, in the next speak that's coming out, it looks like it's going to be about war plots, so that's pretty cool, and I'll definitely be covering that when it comes out. So now let's talk about whether or not subscription fees in MMOs can still work. Now, subscription fees are probably the most popular models of payment for MMOs. I mean, World of Warcraft has been doing it for a super long time, but people have been talking about whether or not it's outdated or if it'll work anymore. especially with Elder Scrolls Online coming up. A lot of people have been covering it. You know, IGN has done a lot of articles on it. You know, just a bunch of different places. So, with that, you know, happening, I figured I'd put my 2 cents in and just talk to you guys about whether or not what I think of the subscription fee. So, first, I think let's just talk about the options of what a payment model could be for a game. So either you could have the subscription fee, which a lot of MMOs do, at least at first, and mostly it's $15 a month, and you get additional content every month for the game. Another option is free to play, and free to play, the game is free, but there's microtransactions that usually are encouraged to buy either because they usually help you in a gameplay stance, and also can make your character look really good. Some games even that you have to pay for have microtransactions, like Guild Wars 2. I mean, you don't have to pay monthly for that, but you could still buy, different armors for your characters that, looked cooler in the store. And then the last option is some sort of hybrid system. Now, this would be something like, having the choice to pay monthly, for additional content, or, having to buy it individually like a DLC. And there's also more room, like Wildstar, it really is a subscription fee, but they also have the whole C.R.E.D system going on where, you can trade stuff with other players for, subscription time and things like that. But basically the base of that is a subscription fee. So really, there really are only like 3 ways to run an MMO, at least that people have thought of yet. Just my, personal preference right now, I hate free-to-play games so much. The only free-to-play game I've ever slightly liked was PlanetSide 2, and I don't even think the guns gave you a huge advantage. I played that game a lot. I really did enjoy it, and it was free-to-play. I did actually buy some stuff in the store, but it was really just, purely cosmetic, purely just made my character look cool. I really don't like free-to-play, and also, let's talk about the hybrid system. I mean, it seems like a good option, it seems like I don't have to pay $15 a month. Instead, I can just, decide whether or not I want the content, and it sounds good, but, really, it just, not having to think about, whether or not I want to buy this thing, it really does restrict the game. And, the Shoddy Cast was talking about this, a couple weeks ago. People don't want to be thinking about money when they're playing a game, especially not when you're in like a fantasy world, when you're trying to, role play or whatever. You don't want to have to be thinking about money or, whether or not I'm gonna, go into this dungeon and have to end up paying $5 because I didn't buy the content that had it in it. And no one wants to do that because it really just takes you out of the experience. I mean, but there is an argument for it, that, I wouldn't have to pay for something that I don't want if I don't want it that month. So, and that's definitely true. But personally, I still think that the subscription fee is the way to go. Whether or not it has to be $15 a month is really debatable. I mean, $15 a month is a lot. I mean, Netflix is like, something like $7 a month. Hulu Plus is like, less than $15. So, $15 a month is a lot, but I mean, people who play MMOs usually dedicate themselves to that game. So, if I'm getting $15 worth of content every month, I don't mind paying that, but, it's the times when you don't get enough content and you're still having to dish out that $15 a month, then that, that's, no one likes that. I mean, and $15 a month, it does add up. If you add it all up, that's like $60 every 4 months. That's basically like any AAA game. So really, you just have to think about it to yourself, whether it's worth it. And personally, I'm willing to pay $15 a month to get more Elder Scrolls games, or more Elder Scrolls content, just because I love the game so much. So I really do still think that the subscription fee is the best model. Now, talking about whether or not it'll work for Elder Scrolls Online, I think it probably will, and I'm at least for a couple of years. I mean, people obviously will get bored eventually. People will stop playing the game, but more people will come in as more people get into the age range where they're looking at MMOs. But I think definitely that the subscription fee will work for a while now. A lot of people say, Star Wars Old Republic, they had a big dedicated fan base, and, it still didn't work for them. But I never played that game, so I can't really say. But apparently the developers didn't really listen to the fan base and what they wanted. And so far, ZeniMax has been pretty good at, listening to us and making changes to the game. So hopefully that won't happen to Elder Scrolls Online. Now, I have to say, if that does happen to Elder Scrolls Online, I really don't want to see the game go free to play. I really do hate free to play games. I think basically just revolves around you having to pull out your wallet every time, you want to do something in the game. So if the subscription fee doesn't end up working, I think they should move to some sort of hybrid system where you have the option of buying the content every month, and even then I probably will still do that. So my opinion is that I think the subscription fee is definitely going to work out for them. If, of course they're giving enough content, $15 a month, that's almost like a DLC for Skyrim, so we should be getting that amount of content every month. So that's pretty much, my little rant on subscription fees. So, let's move into Trove, and this is a new MMO that's coming, later in 2014. I think at the end of every, MMO chat, I'm gonna be talking about an upcoming MMO, just for 2 minutes or something like that. Just to let you guys, in on some of the, new games that are coming up. So, what is Trove? So Trove is kind of Minecraft-ish. I mean, I know a lot of games get accused of being copying other games, so I don't want to say Trove is basically a Minecraft MMO, but it kind of is. I mean, it's definitely inspired by Minecraft. Not saying that it's exactly like Minecraft, because it's definitely not, but it is definitely inspired by Minecraft. So obviously this is an MMO, so there's going to be other people in the world. And basically what Trove is you can build and destroy the world just like you could in a game like Minecraft. But there's going to be a lot of things that are better than Minecraft, like the combat system, for example, is going to be very, very more developed than Minecraft was. There's going to be enemies in the world, and you can build fortresses and fight monsters all with your friends at the same time. Minecraft did have a multiplayer, but it definitely was not even on the scale of an MMO. So Trove looks pretty cool, and it has character customization. And basically when the world is done and has been destroyed and built a bunch of times, the developers move you into a new world, and that's pretty cool. It's gonna suck to see all your stuff go, but that's actually not a problem with the game, because it's they're trying to figure out a system of how to transfer your things over, which is cool. So basically, it looks pretty cool. It is going to be free to play, which again, I don't really like free to play games. But hopefully all the things you can buy are purely, cosmetic. I wouldn't have a problem with that. But the developers are really trying to take info from the community. So if you guys want to check it out and give them your feedback, they'll definitely listen, because again, they want the community to be involved in this project, which is pretty cool. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you guys have anything that you want me to cover next week, just let me know in the comments below. In terms of videos, this week we'll be doing Elder Scrolls Online Saturday, next Saturday, of course. Then during the week we'll be doing a video on The Forest, which is an upcoming survival horror game, which looks really cool. Then probably maybe a review of Broken Age. It depends on whether or not I think it's a little too late to review that game. I just really never got around to doing that. Guys, and that's pretty much it. I mean, we'll probably have 3 or 4 videos this week, just because there's a lot of things I want to cover. Other than that, I wanted to mention to you guys about my guild, the Barryboy Clan. By the time I post this video, the forums should be up, and yeah, so it'll probably be a work in progress for the next week, getting all the threads and stuff set up. But you guys will probably be able to register probably, I want to say Sunday afternoon, so so if you're interested in that, it is a hardcore role-playing guild, and it is for the Ebonheart pack. So, but the good thing now is that any race can play on the Ebonheart pack, which is really cool. So, again, I'll have a link to the description to the forums once I get those up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thanks.